We don't follow trends.
No, we don't follow
That's why we don't have our marks on our caps.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a hole in the back of this
Yes,
bag.
I did see that.
We actually watched holy
That explains
moly.
it. What are we actually doing here? So I guess we start off with revealing the blue bag for last month, which I think a lot of people enjoyed. It was Go-To Natural.
Really, really cool.
Yeah, really, really cool coffee. Dense, very dense. I've had a few people tell me that they struggle to get it to percolate fast enough, which yes, we've experienced ourselves. Very clean. People saying it was a natural, behaving like a washed.
Yeah,
which is quite cool.
I had a couple of people ask me if it was a washed Kenyan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you guys are way off.
Yeah. Yeah, you did get some wild guesses.
But it's delicious anyway.
Yeah, it is a really good coffee.
Flavor notes we called winey, plum, raspberry jam, and dark chocolate.
Yeah, man. For those of you that have been on the subs program or a part of our customer base for a long time, you've probably tasted Go-To Natural. It's an awesome coffee. It's such a staple because I feel like it tastes not the same every year, but very similar every year. It's got such identifiable characteristics, and it's such a mainstay on our menu, so super awesome coffee.
And the whole purpose behind the Blue Bag program, what I wanted, it's to give people the opportunity to experience right from the beginning. And I think we started the Blue Bag program it was month 1 of the subscription, which is probably 4 years ago now.
Yeah, it's a long time.
The whole goal was for you to experience this coffee without any prejudice. So when you receive a bag of coffee, and this month in your subs box, we'll get to it just now, but this beautiful washed Guatemalan, you look at the bag, you read the information, and you're making decisions already. Those decisions can help us to brew coffee better. They can help us to decide on what water we're going to use, grind settings, etc., etc. But they can also create these weird preconceived ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll never forget a friend of mine this is years and years ago, going to a roastery that I really admired. And I said to them, please bring back any coffee, just bring back something.
Yes.
And they brought back a bag of Brazilian coffee.
Okay.
And I was so upset because I knew what was on their menu at the time, and I was like, you're joking. Of all the coffees available, you chose this coffee.
The Brazil, right?
But then I tasted it and it was absolutely spectacular. Yeah, so that was kind of where the idea was actually sparked to do the Blue Bag program. So if you sign up for it as a part of your subscription, you'll get a blank bag, no information, and in these videos and on your My Subscription newsletter, you can actually find out what the coffee is, but you've had a month to taste it without prejudice, which is pretty cool. So Fons, before jumping into the coffee, this month we released the first variant of our 2 new actual subscription boxes. The 4-bag box had production issues and didn't get to us in time, but the 2-bag box did, and I'm so stoked with it. These are the little things we're excited about, but we don't really get to see how you guys enjoy it. So if you receive one of these boxes, please let us know what you think of them. We're super excited to hear. My favorite detail is the "Oh hi, you've been expecting me," which is pretty fun.
Yeah,
and there's a bit of a splurb on the bottom and some stuff. So we hope you enjoy it.
Nice, man.
So jumping into this month's subscription box, we have 4 amazing coffees. Obviously the Blue Bag, which we haven't told you about. But 3 beautiful coffees for our subscribers, depending on which subscription box you've chosen. Fons, what are they getting?
So bag 1 is this El Socorro Guatemalan Red Bourbon washed coffee, right? So absolutely beautiful coffee from an amazing farm, awesome producer. You're also getting your hands on some Kamwangi AB. I think in our lineup a really underrated coffee right now, and it's tasting really, really good. And then bag 3 is Go-To Natural.
Exactly.
So you get to taste it and refer back to last month's Blue Bag if you receive the Blue Bag. And also just an awesome coffee in its own right.
Absolutely. And the whole principle behind our subscription program is that bag 1 is always going to be something new. Often the 2nd or 3rd bag is also something new, but not always. And we don't think it needs to be new every time because we buy really great coffees. And we love to taste those same coffees for a bit of a period of time. So AB has been in the box before, but oh my gosh, if you're complaining about getting another washed Kenyan. Cool. So today we're going to brew the El Socorro. We've been playing with this coffee quite a bit on bar. I had a really tasty espresso with it yesterday. We're not going to brew espresso now, but I will tell you the recipe that I used. I was going for a bit of a faster extraction, which doesn't make sense based on what I'm going to tell you now about the filter coffees. but it makes sense because of the yield I was running. I was doing almost 1-3 yield. So it was 17 grams in 55 out, if I remember correctly. So you'll have to do the maths. That's more than 1-3.
I have to do that's 1-3 point whatever, 1-3.3 ish, I guess.
Maths over here, please, Katie. So yes, and it was delicious, like really good. The texture was really, really light at that ratio, but still creamy.
For sure.
I would say velvety is probably a good way to describe it.
You could describe the texture, even though the body was like pretty low, you could still perceive the texture of the coffee, which is quite cool.
Absolutely. Really great sweetness. I'd say very balanced acidity. It's not a very high acidity coffee, but it's a very high sweetness coffee, which is great. Our flavor calls are pretty simple. Milk chocolate, nectarine, and date. Dates. I don't really know what the right way is to say that. It's a single date. It's a first date.
It's a first date. But the second date is then dates, obviously. In both cases.
Okay.
It's
back to the coffee program. So I've just got back from an amazing trip around Europe, and this is a brewer I picked up. A lot of you guys probably have these already, and they just aren't available in South Africa. I've never prioritized buying one in the past because the previous versions were always ceramic, and it's going to break. So this is the origami brewer, and this is the air version. So it's actually a plastic brewer with a little collar over here. And at Motors Coffee in Paris, one of my favorite cafes of all time, this is their brewer of choice and has been for a long time. Thomas has also used this brewer to finish second at the French Brewers Cup Championship twice. And we're going to be brewing with a very standard V60 filter. So if you're brewing on a cone brewer, this recipe will be very, very applicable to you either way. And on a flat bottom brewer, I would go back to the recipes from last month that we spoke about. They'll be very applicable to this coffee. The one adjustment I'm going to suggest making is go a bit finer. We've just found that this coffee enjoys a bit more contact time, a bit more surface area on your in your bed, so a bit of a finer grind setting essentially. So if you're kind of like calibrating your grind setting, I would say, for example, last month's coffee was...
so the first bag was... what was the first bag?
Pardon? Danger, that's right. Danger, Dalagua, which was an anaerobic natural. If you're going from that coffee to this coffee, I would go a little bit finer, maybe on a Comandante like 2 clicks finer.
For sure. I think we actually recommended you guys go a bit finer for the Danger last month as well. So like maybe slightly finer, but perhaps the same grind size as the Danger compared to other coffees from our range. I'd say just because the wash coffees do tend to be like still a bit denser. So what is perceivably finer for this wash coffee would be similar to what you guys brewed on last month.
And then in your bag 2, which is Kamwangi AB, you'd go a tiny bit coarser than you would on this particular coffee. So we're going to use a very, very simple recipe, and I love this recipe because of its simplicity. For sure. The way we get a slightly constricted extraction, but a really great TDS, so a really nice sort of concentration in the cup. So we're just going to fold our filter and then give it a rinse, which is going to pose a problem to us because we don't have anywhere to ditch the water.
I did bring a spare decanter.
Okay, we're brewing with our water a bit cooler. So we would normally brew it like 95, 96 degrees. We're going to be at about 91. And we're doing a 2-pour recipe. So the Motors team run an extremely busy cafe. So for those of you who are watching this and you run a cafe, this is a really great tip. So they run an extremely busy cafe, and unlike a lot of other cafes, they don't do any batch brew, and they don't have any automatic filter brewers. They brew everything by hand, and they do a lot of filter coffee. So what they've done is developed a very simple recipe that gives them a long gap between pours to allow them to like shoot back over to the espresso machine, pour a latte, or dose for the next brews, etc., etc. So it makes a very simple recipe for us. We're going to be dosing 14 grams of coffee, and because this is a cone brewer, the center, if you think of the bed shape, the center is very much deeper than the sides. So what we want to do is start with a center pour to completely saturate the middle section of that bed, and then we're going to start circular pouring to keep the coffee coming down off the sides of the filter paper. So nice and simple, a recipe that we've used a lot. So I'm going to start with a center pour to about 40 grams, and then I'm just going to slowly start with my circular pour until we reach 100 grams of water in the brewer. This is going to drain through pretty much completely. We're going to wait until 1 minute 20 for our next pour. The Motors team is doing it closer to 1 minute 30, but with our EK, we find that 1 minute 20 is kind of like where we need to go to get to like the total brew times that we want to be on,
for sure.
Without having to pull out the Commandante. Exactly.
Certain.
So El Socorro, let's talk about the farms.
Yes, El Socorro.
Last year was our first year working with Diego's coffee.
Yeah. I remember I'll never forget the first cupping, because I think I'd come back from leave and you guys had cupped those coffees on a Friday beforehand. And obviously Diego's Geisha was on the table, and there were a few other coffees. Last year we only ended up getting the Geisha because it blew our faces off. It was it was probably one of the craziest cupping experiences I've had. When I tasted that cup, it was like, oh, this is what geisha tastes like, right? This is what people mean when they talk about really great washed geishas.
Exactly.
And we were, I guess our perceptions were validated a couple months later when he won Cup of Excellence with a washed geisha from his farm in Guatemala. Very, very cool dude. We chat to him a lot on Instagram. And then, he's been producing amazing coffees from Guatemala for years.
I think he's a multiple-time Cup of Excellence winner.
Yes, I believe so too.
And then I remember being in Athens, we're just committed to the geisha. So we're like, yes, we're getting this coffee. And then Marcus from Sweet Spot comes running up to us. He's like, I've just been at the Cup of Excellence cupping, and there's this geisha from this farm called El Socorro. You guys need to try and get it. And I was like, we're one step ahead of you, Marcus.
It's already on its way, brother. Which is
we
quite
love
cool.
You, Marcus.
We love Marcus, and we love washed geisha. So shout out to Diego. But Diego does a lot of other cool things. He's more than just his high-end coffees. This year we got this amazing Red Bourbon and a few other really cool coffees which are coming in the pipeline from him.
So we've got a Red Bourbon, Pacamara, Java, Lorena, which is a very interesting one, and then some more geisha, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Which is really cool is that most of these coffees are washed.
All of them.
All of these coffees are washed, in fact, and so it's rather refreshing for I think for our palates in general. There's a lot of like really heavily processed coffees out there that are taking a lot of the limelight in the competition space and otherwise. So it's so refreshing to get these crisp, clean, washed coffees out of South America and to see what the potential of those kinds of coffees are in a country like Guatemala.
Exactly. So as per our goal for this cup, we're going to have a slightly longer brew time. On the Kamwangi AB, I'd be aiming for like a 220 to 230 sort of brew time, total brew time. We're at 3 minutes here. We just finished. The extra contact time is just really good for this coffee. It just helps to elevate the sweetness. That Kamwangi AB has also been really interesting this year. I think we've expected it to be like hibiscusy and like current forward, like our old, like the Kamwangi AB of old, another mainstay on our menu, the Kamwangi AB. Those that have been a part of our customer base for a while will recognize the coffee and know what it tastes like in seasons past. This year it's a bit like, I wouldn't say muted, but it's definitely a little bit more understated, less like bright sparkling acidity and more like stone fruit sweetness, really high quality flavor structure and flavor experience, but definitely less light and bright than we are used to from Kamwangi AB at least. I know the AAs are pretty bright still, but AB this year has given us a a refreshing change of pace once I adjusted to it. Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. Hey man, white coffees are really cool. There's a single date in here. One date. There's only space for one in these tiny cups. Exactly, coffee for ants. I'm really, really happy with this. It's just a beautiful, sweet coffee. I think if you are thinking of like the ultimate morning coffee, this would be it for me. I was joking with a group of people in Munich at one of these brewing events that sometimes in the morning you just want a coffee that doesn't require too much thought. You just want to sit and enjoy the sweetness, enjoy the experience. And once your brain has become caffeinated, you can then delve into your Panamanian geisha. On a flavor experience, hey? Exactly. So just to wrap this video up, A few months ago, we started a new subscription program which you can easily bolt onto the curated subscription program. It's called the Bob subscription, the best of Bluebird. It's been a dream for us to do this for a long time because we have so many great coffees coming in every year, which we can't put into the normal subscription programs because they're just too expensive. So the Bob subscription is 350 Rand a month for the 1 bag and about double that, or just under double that for the 2 bag. And you're going to get between 100 and 250 grams of coffee per bag, depending on the green coffee costs. So this last month, we shipped out Franceschi Geisha from Panama, one of my favorite Panamanian coffees ever. I'm really, really enjoying this coffee. Katie and I were down the coast for the weekend, and we literally drank only Geisha the whole time, and it was a great weekend. It's just one of those amazing coffees that we're excited to get to share with you. So if you're a curated subscriber and you want to taste something really amazing, you can use the code ADDBOB at checkout, and you can add the Bob subscription program to your curated. We'll ship them together, and you'll get to taste what's in this box and something really, really world class
for sure.
as well.
These will all be like crazy, like world beater coffees.
Exactly. So, Fans, thanks for the coffee. Always good. Diego, thanks for making such great work at farm level for us to get to play with in the roastery, and making good work, doing good work, whatever. And thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. See you soon.